Hello everyone. Thanks for joining me for my very first episode of Stamptastic Spotlight. I thought it was kind of a fun little name. So today what we're going to do is I am going to showcase a fun new stamp set from the new Stampin' Up catalog. So we are going to make one of these cards, not both, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what they look like. So I'm going to show you how to do the watercolor wash, which is what the background is on this card. And like I said, we are going to use a new stamp set. Actually, there's two of them together. So it's a pretty big stamp set. It's called Rooted in Nature, and it just has some beautiful tree images, nature images. I just love this set. This was the first set that I just had to get. So let me show you how to make these cards. I'm going to first show you the supplies. Hi everyone. Hi Kathy, Judy. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lynn Dunn. I think most of you probably know me, but in case you don't. So let's start with the supplies. So the first thing you'll need is the crumb cake cardstock. So this cardstock is just your regular cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5, and then I scored it down the middle at 4 1/4. So this is our card base. And then I also have a piece of Pool Party cardstock, which is cut to 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have a piece of shimmery white cardstock. So this is the one that we're going to do the watercolor wash on. And you can use the shimmery white cardstock, or you can use the watercolor paper. Either one will work just fine. I like to use the shimmery white. It has like this shimmer to it, like little glitter. So I love glitter. Then you'll also need just a scrap piece of crumb cake cardstock, and I'll show you why we'll need that. And then I have a little bit of burlap ribbon and a button. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is create this watercolored background. So I'm going to put a piece of grid paper down here. This isn't messy, but it does, you do get a little bit of water, not all over the place, but you do get a little bit of water kind of seeping through. So I'm going to start with the Pool Party first. So I'm going to create the top of the watercolor wash, and then we're going to do some crumb cake ink down on the bottom to create the bottom part. So this project was actually inspired by a project that is in the new Stampin' Up catalog. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I highly recommend it. So to get my ink, I'm going to use this aqua painter, but I don't want to use it directly on my pad, so I can just squeeze some ink together on my tray. Although I do want a little bit more ink than that to do the watercolor wash. So I am going to add just a drop or two. All right. And then I'm going to take my aqua painter, and I'm just going to squeeze some water in here and get a nice drippy, watery, colored mess, I guess. And then I'm going to take it and just wash. And so the more water you squeeze on, you can blot out these bubbles, the more water you squeeze on, the lighter the color will get. So we'll just kind of add, and I just kind of go back and forth just to add a nice background. And it'll look so cool. As you can see, it looks so cool with the tree stamped on it. So we'll add that first. And like I said, just randomly go back and forth across your either watercolor paper or across your shimmery white paper. And then I'm going to do the crumb cake ink as well. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit more. Hi everybody. Let's see. All right. Let's get some of this blue off here. All right, okay, now we'll just add some water. And I like using the tray of my ink pad, but if you have one of those painter's tray, I think that's what they're called, a painter's tray, then you can just use that to add your ink if you don't want to use your ink pad. Okay, so now we'll just add some watercolor wash across the bottom. And that's it. Now we just have to let it dry. And I'm going to move this out of the way. We'll just let that dry. And of course, because I'm doing this live, I have one already made, so we don't have to wait for that one to dry. But you get the idea of how to create the watercolor wash. Now you'll notice that when you, after you put the water on here, your paper kind of gets a little crinkled. You can take your bone folder and you can just kind of smooth it out a little bit so that it's not so bubbly or not so, I don't know what the word is, crinkled. So we'll try to spread this out a little bit. Okay, now we are going to add, I'm going to clean up my ink pad first. So I just use a little tissue just to wipe off the excess ink from my ink pad because I don't want any of that on the inside or directly on my pad. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp, let's get this out of the way. I'm going to stamp the sentiment on the card. So we're going to make this card. This other card I have here is just another beautiful image from the stamp set. You can do the exact same watercolor background, but just choose a different tree image from the set. So, all right. So first thing I'm going to do is just ink this up, and I'm going to add the thinking of you right down on the bottom. Oops. I don't think I have it on the camera, do I? Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so that was with the crumb cake ink. Then I'm going to take my soft suede ink, and I'm going to use the tree image, this tree image up here, and I'm going to stamp it next to the thinking of you. So I'm going to stamp it once, and then I'm going to pick it up, and without re-inking it, I'm going to stamp it just a little bit higher and over the top. So I create the look of two trees. I love that stamp off technique. It's just a fun way to add some depth and dimension to your card. So let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, I also have this little stamp set that says be strong, be happy, be you. So I am going to take my soft suede ink and I'm just going to stamp it on this scrap piece of cardstock that I told you about. And then I'm going to cut it out because I only want to use the Be Strong on there. So all I do is simply cut straight across. I do this a lot with sentiments. Just kind of cut them out by hand. You don't have to add this. It looks beautiful just with the thinking of you, but it's kind of fun to add a little bit more dimension to your card. So I have that. I will add a little dimensional so I can pop it up off the card. And then to create this little embellishment up at the top here, all I have is a very small piece of burlap, and I'm just going to cut the end on an angle just to kind of create that little angled look. I'm going to add a little piece of tear and tape right here where I want it. And then I'll stick this down. And then this remainder part, I actually just folded that over to the back. And I like to use my tear and tape, so especially when I'm doing watercoloring, because it holds the cardstock down when I go to secure it to my card base, because it's when you use watercolor it has a little bit of bubbling to the cardstock, so this will help hold it down better. Alright, so I'm going to add that, and then I'm just going to use my pool party. So I want to adhere it to the pool party piece first, so peel all this off. And one more. Okay, sorry, it went faster when I practiced. Okay, so now I'm going to just adhere this on here, and you know I like to leave just a little 1/4 inch matting all the way around my card, so that's why all these pieces are cut a little smaller. So my shimmery white piece is 5 by 3 3/4, and then the pool party is 5 1/4 by 4, and then of course we have our regular card base, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So now I'm just going to adhere this on my card base, and then we'll embellish it, and that's it. Super simple. I like simple and beautiful cards, don't you? Okay, so there is the card. I'm going to add this little sentiment that I stamped. We'll add that down on the bottom here. And then I will take a little button and some glue dots. And I'm just going to adhere the button right up on top of this burlap. And that's it. How simple. Very simple, very quick, and it's just beautiful. I love the images. I love how they look on this watercolor paper. So let me show you just a couple other projects, and I would recommend that if you really like this stamp set, if you like nature images and you like what you've seen so far, go out to my my blog after this session and take a look at some of the other cards I created. So this is one of the cards that I created with the Rooted in Nature stamp set. I used some of the designer paper, which is just gorgeous. And then I also have this card as well, which has some fun little embossed images on it. So one of the cool things about this new stamp set is it comes with a set of framelits. And with the framelits, let me show you, I could have actually cut out this tree and put it on my card. So it's got all the little framelits that you need to cut out the trees and put them on your cards. I opted to do stamping instead of cutting them out. And then it's got this really cool, these leaf images that you can emboss right on your card. So you'll notice the raised embossed image on this card. That's created with this framelit, so it doesn't actually cut all the way through. So lots of fun, beautiful things in this new catalog. So I would highly recommend you go out to my website. It is stamptasticdesigns.com. You will find the instructions for all of these projects and a list of all of the supplies. So I hope you enjoyed my little Stamptastic spotlight today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everyone.